Hello everybody, what's happening? My name's Neil, welcome along to Midlife Motors. And today I'd like to talk to you about my 2019 Toyota Corolla. They call it a sport tourer, that's an estate to you and I. And I thought now would be a good time because it's 5 years old now. It's done 25,000 miles. I've had it for 20 months and done 20 of those 1,000 miles. Just put it through an MOT. So I kind of know the good and the bad. I've done a little bit of a list. It's quite comprehensive of the good and the bad. So we're going to run through those. There's no faults to report as you would expect with a Toyota, and the MOT had no advisories. I think the top of the good things has got to be the ride in this car. Now this road is demonstrating it perfectly just now because it's rutted, it's crumbling, and this car just glides along those. This Corolla, the Corollas have full independent suspension, and as a result the ride in this car is fantastic. And when we go for a little bit of a push on later, you're going to see how good it handles too. So that's the main positive I've come to enjoy with this car. The main negative is like a lot of Toyotas. Look how dark it is in this cabin. In fact, if I switch from this camera to this camera, you can really see it is absolutely terrible. There's no ambient lighting at night either, so it doesn't get any better then. I've got to find a way of trying to improve that. I wish these cars had a panoramic roof, but costs. Now that's been a real bonus. This car replaced the Yaris, which was just the cheapest thing on the planet almost, and this car's been the same. I was hoping that would be the case. So we serviced it, didn't we, for £45 for a service kit. I think hopefully our banner will pop up now with a link to how we went about that. Easy job, only took us a couple of hours. £180 to tax it. Now you'll have noticed as I'm driving this car, I am changing gear. This is not a car with a CVT gearbox. This is not a car with a hybrid engine, and that's a good thing, and we will come on to that as well shortly. So the costs have been excellent. The tyres after 25,000 miles are only halfway worn according to the service report. The brakes still feel nice and firm. Remember how I was saying it went well round a corner? Boom! There's a little prelude to what we might do a little bit later. So yes, the costs have been really good, and although this isn't a hybrid, it's ULEZ friendly. So being as I work in Glasgow, fine, I drive in and out of there every day. Spot on. Right, I'm just going to pull in up here. I do quite like the styling of this this Corolla, and I actually think the estate looks better than the hatch itself. A couple of negatives I don't really like. I quite like the shape of the wheels, but they do look, the car does look under alloyed, so that's a bit of a negative. Another negative is looking at the stone chips. Now you'll notice that the bonnet here, I've noticed, doesn't really get any, but it must be to do with the airflow. This front valance down here, you might be able to see some of them on camera. This is getting stone chipped really quite badly. So if you're in the market for one of these, maybe be mindful to watch out for that. But I'll just do a quick walk around the car because I think it's quite a good looking motor. This is an Icon, which is pretty much the bottom of the range, albeit it has got the tech pack, so that boosts it up a little bit and gives you the things that you do need just for everyday use. But I quite like the rear of it as well. It's not I know it's only a Corolla, but it's not a bad looking car overall. Up front here we've got a 4-cylinder 1.2 turbocharged petrol engine. Officially makes 115 horsepower, 140 pound-foot of torque in a car that only weighs 1,400 kilograms. Now, the general consensus is there that Toyota are a little bit conservative on those figures, and if you think of other manufacturers that do engines sort of this size, you can probably believe that. I think they're more like 130 horsepower and more like 165 pound-foot of torque. Coupled with the gearbox, it's got some great ratios for mid-range pushing on, and we'll try that in a minute. Works really well, drives really nicely. Great balance between economy, I'm getting 45 miles per gallon, and a little bit of performance to keep you happy. This is a good, there's loads of space in this car. There's the tech's good, and we'll have a sit inside it in a minute and see what that's like. The seats, the front seats are so luxurious. They're very captain's chair-like. Plenty of room up front, and also in the back, plenty of room in the rear as well. I mean, you can see between the seats, plenty of space behind mine. I'm 5'10", and there's plenty of space. This one's all its way back it can possibly go. And in the rear here, you don't lose any headroom, because obviously it doesn't slope down as would a hatch or something like that. So again, plenty of space. Coming around to the boot, this is the bit I absolutely love. Acres of room. The seats obviously fold down to give you masses and masses and masses of space. Not too high a lip either. If you look at it's only up to sort of my knee level, so the dog can jump in and out of there nicely. Even got a false floor for storing bits and bobs. Even got a spare wheel in this car, which I like. We've got our drive information in front of us here, all very clear. I have a digital number there for my speedo, and I have my trip thing on just because that's the way I like it. You can configure this center bit. You can have that to display whatever you may want at the time, whether that's sat nav, whatever it may be. The two outer ones you can't change. We've got our infotainment in front of us here. That's the apps, and there's your home screen. Down here we've got controls, buttons, hooray, for your temperature and the aircon, etc. Down here we've got some heated seats, again buttons. We've got some modes which are completely pointless in this car. If I go up here, you'll see I think I'm in normal at the moment. So sport mode turns it red. There's normal, and eco mode turns it green. They don't really do anything. Eco mode does absolutely nothing. Sport mode makes the throttle response a little bit sharper, but I tend to drive the car in normal. I've got a manual gearbox, aha, and it's quite nice because you've got this armrest here, and you can just sit and flick through the gears nicely. Nice deep cup holders, so you wouldn't nudge anything over whilst you're doing that, which is all good as well. Steering wheel's clear. It's got all your controls on here, whether it's for your cruise or for your telephone, your media, that sort of stuff. Has voice activation, which I don't use. This car strangely also has automatic parking. It'll parallel park and reverse park for you. I've never used it. Maybe I should try it and do a little tutorial on that alone. Now, a couple of little gripes. When I get in the car, I like to lock it. I have to do that manually. It doesn't auto lock. I have electric mirrors, but they don't fold in electrically, which is just bizarre. Now, to set the cruise control, I press this and hold this button here. And also to get hill hold assist, that's a nice feature which I can enable. It's good. It'll hold the car if you're on a hill, and it'll stay on for the duration. However, whenever I turn the car off, all of that turns off, which is just annoying. Get back in and I have to go through it all again. Strangely, the lane assist, I can scroll through the menu, you'll see it coming up in here. The lane assist and the pre-collision warnings and everything like that, I can turn them all off and they'll stay off. But those other things stay on. Why can't I just have on what I want on and off what I want off all the time? If you get one of these, 10-year warranty with a Toyota now, which is always quite beneficial and good to have. That's handy to know. Couple of negatives as well though. When you get the low fuel warning light on, your screen, your sort of information screen, just disappears and just says low fuel. It won't do anything else. It'll tell you your revs and your speed, but that's it. You can't access any other information. That's really annoying, like really, really annoying. And it seems to come on with quite a lot of fuel still left in reserve. We've got 5 or 6 miles now of quite nice twisty roads. This is where I like to come in the little MX-5, and it's great fun. I've put the car in sport mode. I don't think it gives you any more power or anything like that, but it does make the throttle far more responsive. I mean, it's instant. In normal mode, the car is a little bit laggy. I think it does that to eke out miles per gallon. The suspension doesn't change. I think the steering is maybe a little bit sharper, but I mean the car just glides, and you can actually feel the grip in this car, which is quite nice even on these eco tires. I'm looking forward to getting onto something a little bit more grippy, if you like. And the brakes are very smooth and they're very progressive. You can really modulate them well. You can get the right amount of force on. So what I like to do with the car is really get the nose in, and because of that independent suspension, the back will follow. The car kind of turns as one, which is really nice. I'm not using too many revs, but as you can see, we're picking up speed nicely. You're not lacking on horsepower. Well, you're lacking on horsepower, not lacking on speed in between the corners. You can just come down, balance the car nicely on the throttle, get it turned in. Here we go. This is a long corner, and you can just keep feeding the power in, and it'll just grip. Where you think it'll let go, it won't. It's almost, I mean, it doesn't have a diff on it, but it feels like, it almost feels like a diff pulling the front tires in. If you have to adjust your line mid-corner, it's not the end of the world either. I mean, it's lightweight in the back. Concentrate, Neil. It's lightweight in the back because it's an estate. I've got no weight in there now, so I think if anything it would lift off oversteer, but you'd really have to be going nuts to do that. So down through here, unfortunately, there's a van coming. You can usually get a nice line through here if there isn't. But down through here, these series kind of test the car quite tight, these corners. Camber's with you though, which is nice. And this is a long one. We can just keep feeding the power in. There we go. Let's see if we can't attack a couple of corners in this direction, because these ones are quite good. They're off camber, they're downhill, so you have to get your braking right. The car has to work quite hard. Here's the first one coming over the brow of this hill. As you can see, the road really drops away from you there, so you're relying on the front, you're relying on the nose of the car to really be able to turn in. A little bit of a yump there, watch out for the horse box. Round here, again, it's dropping away from you. This one's a long sweeper, there's nothing coming, so we can use all of the road here, get it in, and then get the throttle on hard, just to drag the nose round, and the back will follow. Back in normal mode now, just to wrap things up, to finish it off. And I suppose the point of this video was really to show you an alternative to the general, you know, most people go for a Golf, an Astra, that sort of thing, don't they? But the Corolla's a reasonable alternative. You get all of Toyota's legendary reliability. It doesn't seem to have skipped this car, which is good. It's cheap to run. It's fun if you want to have a little bit of a fling around, but it's not going to get you in trouble. It's not fast or anything like that. It's just fun. So it's a pain-free. It's really a pain-free daily driver, which is great. It's exactly what you need in this day and age, isn't it? Hope this has been helpful. I hope the update's been helpful. So if it has, please give us a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe, because we're going to update the other cars shortly, so you might as well stay tuned for that. But for now, that's the end of this one. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.